So this morning's sermon, we will have this morning's worship song at the conclusion of the sermon. So I will be preaching from Psalm number 139, verses 13 and 14. And this says, For you created my inmost being. You built me in my mother's womb. I praise you, because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. You know, this is from David, and he is in awe of God. David recognizes that God is amazing, that God created us, knows us, and formed us, and he wants everyone to realize that God created us in our mother's wombs. And this helps us to recall our connection with God. And David praised God every single day. And know that God is proud of his creation. I want you to hear this again. God is proud of all of his creation, both outside of us and us as well. And God loves us so very much that he sent his only son to come to the cross for us. That is beautiful, and it makes us so incredibly special in God's eyes that Jesus Christ died for us, and that shows just how much God loves us. But we don't see ourselves in the same way that God sees us. Wouldn't you agree? God looks down at us and says, I love you. You are so beautiful and sweet and precious to me. You are amazing and wonderfully made. But we see ourselves in a much different manner. You know, when we see that, we know that in the Word, we know that we experience rebirth in Christ and we are renewed in Christ. But we don't live as if we are renewed or reborn. Sometimes we live our lives the same way as we did before we came to know Christ as our Messiah and made Jesus the Lord of our lives. We act in the very same ways that we did before we knew who Jesus was. So today's sermon, we will be focusing on how we can see ourselves broken and not perfected. But in fact, the more negatively that we do see ourselves, the more negatively you will feel about yourself, and the more negative things that will happen to you in your lives. Do you guys remember the movie Winnie the Pooh? I think we have a picture of Pooh coming up. There he is, Winnie the Pooh. Can you guys see this on Zoom? We might need another cord. Yet another cord. So that you Zoom people can see the PowerPoint. But you guys know what Winnie the Pooh looks like, right? You can visualize him. Little Pooh Bear. Those are such precious kids' books, and they have a movie as well. I think it was made in 2018. Did anybody see that? The new one in 2018. I think it's called Christopher Robin. Did anybody see that? I love to watch that movie over and over again. It's such a sweet, sweet film. But Pooh Bear is always absolutely positive in his outlook, no matter what the situation, no matter what negative things are going around. He is positive. And Levi is our Winnie the Pooh. Levi is 100% positive. There is never a negative word coming out of him. And it's amazing. I don't know and I know for sure if Levi was not in our family that we would not be as positive without him. Because he is consistently positive all the time. There's another character in the story named Eeyore. Maybe you guys know Eeyore, the little downtrodden donkey. He's always kind of glum and dour, if you remember him. He is like the most negative character. And it makes me crazy to even watch him when I'm watching the movie. Because I know he's gonna talk negatively. He'll be saying, oh boy, it's raining again. And that makes me nuts. Unfortunately, I do know some people who are just like Eeyore. Yeah, I do. And sometimes I find myself trying to avoid them. Because if they start talking negatively, it pulls me down. All that negativity wears me down. The negativity just invades the room and permeates everything, you know? And some people will say, well, I have a complaint.
True life.
You know, I do have a complaint. This week my air conditioning broke. Honestly, it did. Thank you, John. Did you see what John said? John said, again? Thank you, John. Yes, again. You know, it's broken 3 times in July alone. And it's the one on the floor where our bedrooms are and where my office is. And it's going to be in the high 90s this week, so I will complain about that, right? But this morning I told myself, all right, Debbie, it's not that bad. There's a lot of people who are hot. I was trying to give myself some positive self-talk, but inside I was fuming. I was fighting with that fuming personality trait of mine. But anyway, negativity. People who are negative never see themselves in the same way that God sees them, and the same way that God sees them as precious creations. Because that is exactly how God looks at us. And it is a fact, that the more positive traits we see in ourselves, the more positively we see life, and the more positive things that will happen in our lives. That's a fact. You know, we've talked about this before. Some people see the glass half empty, others see the glass as half full.
Oh.
And if you see it as half empty or half full, you have to think and practice how you view this glass. And if your inclination is to say, oh, it's half empty, or if you try to train yourself to say, oh yeah, we still got some left, and it takes practice, and see what happens. But once again, I want to reiterate, if we see things negatively, it's going to make our situations in life tougher, and it's going to be tough on folks who are around us when we're being negative. It is no fun to hear people speak negatively all the time. It's hard for me, because life is challenging enough already. And again, like if we meet somebody who's complaining about the air conditioning or a flat tire, that's a whole different story. I just mean people who are consistently negative and have nothing positive to say about anything, who seem to hate their lives. They will pull down everyone around them. You know, I feel bad for them, I feel bad for their families, I feel bad within their circles, and we need to pray for those individuals, because their negativity has a ripple effect, and it can bring everybody down. And I want to add this, if anybody is suffering from depression, however, or has negative thoughts that become obsessive, that is a different malady. And I would strongly recommend that you obtain some counseling to help you get through that, because that is a whole different ballgame. I want to make sure that you understand that this is very important. That if you have depression, don't feel bad about that. Or if you have really overwhelmingly negative thoughts about life, you need to get counseling. And it may take counseling, it may take medication in tandem with counseling, but get a professional counselor and get some professional help. This morning, I want to talk about people who have a terrible habit. I mean, we often have terrible habits of weeping and criticizing ourselves, and we look in the mirror and we say, and we should be looking in the mirror and saying, I am blessed. I am strong. I am healthy. I am beautifully made in the image of God. And in the Greek, In Latin, we are made in the Imago Dei, which means we need to look in the mirror and say to ourselves, I am created in the image of God. Each of you and I are created in the very image of God. Can you imagine that? That is such a cool thing to say to ourselves, and really just increases our positivity. But sometimes we look in the mirror and we say, well, I've got such bad luck. I am not good at absolutely anything. I'm always sick. I'm not attractive. I have no skills. I can't help anybody. I'm just worthless. I don't even have any friends. Those are some of the negative self-talk that we tend to do with ourselves. And I want to address that today. Here, we'll hold until Jean and Kay get in. So we've got places for them right over here. Uh-oh. You know, if you guys think negatively and talk negatively, negative things are going to start to happen. The more negative that we talk, the more negativity that we put out, the more negativity that we will experience. So we're training ourselves to try and see the cup not as half empty, because that leads to negativity. If your inclination is to view the cup or the glass as half empty, that is a negative way to do it. And in Christ, we are to walk differently. We are not to walk with our heads down. We are not to talk in a really quiet, low, self-esteem type of manner. We are not to tell ourselves that we don't have any skills, that we are unattractive, because the more we think that and use that type of self-talk, the more unattractive we become. If we are constantly saying that we cannot do or we cannot be, then we will not do and we will not be. We actually create ourselves into people that we do not want to be. And if you start to reframe that and think positively and talk positively, then positive things will happen. And I'm not talking about a Harry Potter magic wand at all. I'm just talking that God is already pouring out so many blessings on us every single day. But if we train ourselves to ignore those and just see the bad things, then we will automatically miss all of those blessings. You know, I'm trying to find what the blessing is in my air conditioner breaking and the heat that we're enduring this week. Well, you know, some people experience this every single day, depending on where they live and what country they live in. I know that my air conditioning will be fixed. I know we have a warranty and we'll have to pay the deductible, but you know what? My air conditioning will be fixed, and this is an opportunity for me to grow and to turn this negative experience into something positive. And sometimes we need to go through some bad experiences in order to grow spiritually. If we didn't have that, we can become spoiled brats, and we can be entitled and say, well, you only gave me 3 ice cubes, I wanted 4. And he said, you should know that I always want that. And it's all about me, so you need to meet my desires. We will feel entitled to have everything absolutely the way we want it. Now, that doesn't mean we should look for bad things to happen, but what we do need to do is look for the blessings within those occurrences. Like, you know, this week all night it's been really warm, and I like a cold bedroom. And so I didn't really sleep well because it was too hot in my bedroom. However, I kept thinking about Levi. And I know that he's not going to obsess on the heat. He's going to be just thinking about fun stuff. He'll be thinking about all the fun he had at camp last week or all the fun he did yesterday. I know he will be thinking positively. And so that helped me to try to think positively so that I could sleep and wake up even though it was hot. Those positive thoughts helped me to sleep. You know, our thoughts have such a strong influence on us. Statistics say that older people absolutely look more attractive because they've learned how to be positive. Isn't that cool? There's been research done on this, and they have found that older people who look more attractive, they look more invigorated, they look happier, they're able to converse more readily, they enjoy chatting more, and they talk with positivity because they've learned how to see life as a wonderful gift, and they see themselves as created in the image of God. You know, women should not tell the husband that they are unattractive. And women also should not tell their husbands, oh, I'm so ugly, I'm too fat, I'm just this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. Because that talk sets you up for your husband to see you as that instead of your husband to see you as the beautiful person you are. And it's the same thing with husbands should not tell their wives anything other than that they are beautiful. Because women like to hear that. They like to, how many of you husbands tell your wives that you think they're beautiful? How many of y'all tell your partners that they're beautiful? Tell me the truth. Yay, all right, for those of you who do. But it's very important to tell each other that they're beautiful or handsome. Tell them that they did a good job. It's really important to commend people for what they do. Because it's so easy to say, that's all you did? That's it? That is the best you can do? And that's really pretty negative. So instead, practice seeing the positive and let that negative just flow on out. Because, hey, life's short. Did we learn anything from the pandemic? You know, we've had 14 months stolen. Or, if we could say, what good can we say about COVID? We had 14 months to learn to be patient. That's right, big time, Elmer. Perfect. We learned how to be positive. We learned how to make changes in our life that were positive. We learned that God loves us, and that's positive. That's right. You're right, Adam. God did not stop loving us. You know, we would not have had the Zoom ministry without this. And John says, yeah, we had time not to think about what was going on. I know there's a lot of folks who did struggle with the impact of COVID. And if you're struggling, again, I want to reiterate, please get some counseling. Talk to somebody. There is no shame in seeking help. Some people are just able to go with the flow and move on. And sometimes you need a little help to do that. But you know, it takes practice. You know, everything takes practice, right?
Everything.
Everything requires effort daily. We have to practice not saying negative stuff. We have to practice becoming positive. Can you change that picture to Winnie the Pooh? I don't think we need to be looking at Eeyore the whole time. We'll get that negative is going to come from the PowerPoint right to us. Ah, there's Winnie the Pooh. I like that happy stance. Now in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, it says that we are God's masterpiece. That means we are the crown of creation. God created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we can do good works that God has planned for us all along. Isn't that cool? God's creation is not lousy or ugly or worthless at all. Every person is valuable. God looks at you and loves you so very much. Just like we feel when we see our children and we have that overwhelming love for them, right? You know, I see that in your eyes, Lynn, when you look at your kids and your grandkids. Even other people's children we look at and just feel overwhelming love. Because we can see that God's creation is beautiful and every one of us is awesome. No matter what your background, no matter what your childhood was like, no matter what your present situation is, God still sees you as awesome, amazing, and wonderfully made, created by Him in His image. So when you look in the mirror, I want you to see yourself as wonderfully created in the image of God. And I want you to tell yourself that over and over again. Because we will never be happy or satisfied if we keep up negative self-talk. If we think, oh, I'm lousy, I'm worthless, I'm old. Some people say, oh, who has to say, oh, I'm getting old? Well, practice not saying that anymore. Okay, I mean, don't even joke about it, because don't send that out into the world. So just don't be saying, I'm too old anymore. Remember, God uses people. God has used people who are much, much older than us. You know these stories, right? So King David said, I praise you. This is David speaking, because I know that I am your masterpiece. David said that. Isn't that cool? David recognized and knew that he was amazingly created by God. So tonight I want you guys to think to yourselves, this one little trivial part of our body was all created by God. All created by God. Try to just wrap your mind around that. There is nothing run-of-the-mill about us. We are all unique. We are all original. We each have different fingerprints. Even identical twins have unique fingerprints. Our eye images are unique. Our irises are all different. I want to reiterate that. Even identical twins have unique fingerprints. How amazing is that? How is that even possible? They come from the same zygote, and they have different fingerprints. And they have different personalities. They have different abilities. My twin sisters are just polar opposites. I mean, not just a little bit different. They are polar opposites. You know, and it's just, you know, think about how fathers love to look at their children. And my dad would always look at my sisters and see how absolutely different they were and just wonder how that was possible. But it's kind of funny. They do tend to select the same clothing. One is in Iowa and one is in Oregon. And when they got together, they had the same earrings, and that was kind of weird. And they were looking at each other and saying, we've got the same outfit and the same earrings on the same day. And they also had little purses that were the same shape and were with the crossbody. curses. They were even the same color, so they just laughed when they saw that with each other. But their personalities and life choices have been very different. So imagine what would happen if you and I said, I am God's masterpiece. What if we said the same thing as David? What if we said, I'm strong, I am wonderfully made in the image of God. God loves me, other people love me, not in a sense of pride, but with a sense of humility and recognition that God loves us. What if we changed and did that every morning? Sometimes I get up and look in the morning and say, oh my gosh, it's too hard for me, what you got me to do. Sometimes I whine and cry just like Eeyore, and I have to catch myself and stop it. And then I have to thank God for all the blessings that I have. And you know, that takes practice. Even Sarah had to work on changing her attitude. Because she was saying, I'm too old to conceive. I have failed to conceive so many times. I've not been able to get pregnant this entire time. I am absolutely worthless. So she had to change that and say, I am chosen, I am worthy, because God has given me a baby even though I am 90 years old. So be careful, just warning ya. Don't you be laughing at God. Watch what you do. You maybe don't want to become parents at 90, do ya? Oh, I can't even imagine that. And Sarah's name was even changed. Before she conceived, her name was Sarai. And after she conceived, her name was Sarah, which translates to princess. Imagine that. 90-year-old Sarah, who had thought she was too old and worthless, that God had decided not to bless her with a baby, that it was impossible for her to conceive. All of a sudden, at 90 years of age, is pregnant, realizes that she is beautiful and unique and made in the image of God, and her name has been changed to Sarah, which means princess. Imagine that. Proverbs says that life and death incorporates this, the power of life and death is in your words. That you have the power to tear down someone, or you have the power to build them up. You've got the power to tear down your self-worth, or you've got the power to build up your self-esteem. You and I have that kind of power. Think about that. How good it would feel to look in the mirror and say, wow, I am created in the image of God. I have abilities, I am happy, I've got plenty of energy today, I'm healthy, I am ready to serve God, and I will have fun today. This morning in the car before Al, Levi, and I got here, we were looking around at each other and we said, we will have an amazing worship service today. Yay, thank you. That's part of our prayer. That's part of our prayer as David's psalm. His songs of praise were his prayers to God. And our comments and through our talk, we have to set the stage that we will have a meaningful service. And we will enjoy this no matter what technologically breaks. That we're not going to allow Satan to rob our joy, or make us feel unable, or make us feel bad, or make us feel worthless. No. We are made in the very image of God, and we will enjoy this day. And we will be thankful this day. And we will have fun fellowshipping and worshiping with anything that happens to be working. Wouldn't you agree? Amen and amen. You know, we don't want to be saying things like, I'm so dumb, I am so not smart, my business is slow, I'm not doing well enough. You need to be thinking, I am smart, I am blessed. God is using me and will somewhere every day. Maybe it's like one time in a restaurant, this just occurred to me. This is something I didn't even know I needed. But I was eating in a restaurant with Al and Levi. We were at Spin Pizza. Here's my advertisement for Spin Pizza. We were sitting around the table, and I thought I was being paranoid because there was a couple with a couple of sons sitting on the setting at the counter. There's a counter, and then there's a big long table and some other tables. So they were sitting there, and I thought that they were looking at me. You know, it's like, oh yeah, they're looking at deaf people. Y'all know how that goes when people just look at deaf people because we're signing. So I started feeling a little paranoid. But actually, I looked at their eyes, and they were looking at the TV over our heads, and I thought they were looking at me. But then I saw that, oh, they're looking at the game up there. I thought, oh, this woman likes men's soccer, I guess. Or maybe it was golf. I don't remember what was on there. I mean, soccer's not boring, but golf maybe is not boring to y'all, but golf is boring to me. But anyway, I saw their eyes on the TV monitor, and I thought, this family is more interested in sports. So as soon as I would turn to look at them, I didn't see their eyes move from me to them, but I know they did. So anyway, I was pretty paranoid that day, so I thought I need to stop. But then this happened 2, 3, or 4 times, and once we were done eating, we were getting ready to go. They said something to me, and I said, what? And they said it again, and I started to read their lips, because the other restaurant was very loud, so I couldn't hear them at all. They said, oh, your skin is so smooth. What? And I said, what? No, it's not. I'm old. Look what I just said that I said. Yeah. I said, what? No, it's not. I'm old. I can't have smooth skin. And she said, oh, yes, I was just taken with your skin. And so she was looking at me. I wasn't making it up. So anyway, the point is, I felt so very good after she said that. I really felt a boost that lasted with me the rest of the day. I felt more attractive, because I can be kind of hard on myself. I'm always hard on myself. I think I'm fat, I'm not in good shape, yada, 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 yada. That's what my natural inclination is. But who would know that even one little statement like that could make me feel so good? But it did. It made me feel good. It changed me to feel positive. And she was a young gal. Her skin was beautiful. And then when I would look at that, I said, Al, I don't see that, but is she telling me the truth? And Al said, yes, your skin is beautiful. And that made me feel even better. So anyway, you and I need to really work on building each other up. We're expected to be builders, not destructors. We need to be builders. Builders of yourself first, and then builders of other people. Never are we supposed to be deconstructors of ourselves or of anyone else. God did not create us to act in that manner. Now, Satan wants us to deconstruct each other, but God did not intend for us to do that, either to ourselves or to anybody else. So when people start to talk negatively to you or about you, don't take it to heart. Let it pass on by and pray for them. Even when they stab you to the core, don't let that stick with you for months at a time. Know that those persons who do those kind of things have sadness in their lives, and all you need to do is just pray for them. You already know that you are created in the image of God. You are special, you are unique, you are important. And it's the enemy that wants us to feel inferior, weak, shamed, and ugly. So shake all of those feelings off right now. And remember that you are positively. Be a positive Pooh. So say, I'm going to be a positive Pooh. You know, there's one example that I'm going to give you, and this is really self-disclosure for me, and I am not proud of this at all. But when Jacob was in college and he was studying religion, he had the opportunity to tell his professor and his college classmates that his mother was a pastor. And some of them said, oh, you know, it was the women thing again. And some of them said, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Your mom's a pastor. You know, he was getting his bachelor, freshman and sophomore year. You know, the students are young, and some of them thought it was cool, and some of them didn't. And some of them asked Jacob. They said, what's the name of the church? And he said, she's a pastor of a deaf church. And then the response was, oh, well, that's why they hired a woman. It's a deaf church. Of course they would hire a woman because, you know, they know it's supposed to be a male preacher, but they probably couldn't find one. And that really confused Jacob, and he was really upset. And he got home and told me about that. I said, well, that happens because a lot of people think that deaf people are not very smart, that they don't really need a real pastor, that they're not educated. I mean, you guys know the historical view, the pathological view on that. You've all dealt with that. But boy, that statement bottomed my self-esteem right out. I felt bad. I felt bad that people looked at me in that manner, and I started to wonder what it would be like to pastor a hearing church. And so I beseeched God. And finally, unasked, I was asked to become a pastor in a hearing church. You know, and God is more than happy to teach us lessons through what we ask for, right? I mean, some of you are laughing because Abigail knows exactly what I'm talking about. I have beseeched God to let me pastor in a hearing church. So God did. There was a deaf church and a hearing church, and I was a pastor at both of them. And I thought I would feel better about myself. I thought people would view me differently. I thought they would recognize the fact that I'm educated, that I am trained, that I do know what I'm doing, that I am a real pastor. But it was the same. It was the exact same experience. They didn't look at me as a real pastor. And what was worse, I was not happy. They were not my people. And I always felt like I was I don't mean to be negative to hearing people, but they were highly critical of me. Worse than I expected. They were critical of things. They complained about people's clothing, about their hair, about their cars. And when I saw that, I was thinking, you hearing folks are complaining about this kind of stuff? This is the same thing that deaf people complain about. So what I really learned was that deaf church and hearing church are no different, and that I am who I am. So then I beseeched God to put me back into the deaf church, to get me out of there. You know, you were there, Lynn. And in the hearing church, they had a big plaque that all the pastors' names were on. And the deaf church didn't have that. And so I felt as if we were way down on the totem pole. And I thought, well, if I am at the hearing church, my name is going to be put on that plaque. And my name was put there. But I didn't feel any different once I saw it. So that was food for thought. I didn't really appreciate my name being there. I didn't even want my name there. So I begged God to put me back to the deaf church alone. And it happened. We left that church and we started DICC, Deaf International Community Church, 10 years ago. And then I knew, oh, this is my home. This is my place. And I really came away with the realization that there is absolutely no difference between hearing churches and deaf churches. What is different is the perspective. So we need to change our perspective on how we live, on how we feel about ourselves, on how we feel about each other. And don't let anybody else look down on us. Don't let their opinions influence us. Don't let if their perspective is trying to make us feel demeaned, don't let it happen. If they look down on you, just be sad for them. Because if someone's looking down on us, you know that they're in the wrong place because their heart is not in alignment with God's heart. So make sure that you rise up and pray for them. Don't let them bow you down with their perspective. Because I had done that, and I will not do that again. We are all equal in the eyes of God. Every human, every age, every race, every ethnicity, every linguistic person is equal in the eyes